is here. What a weekend. What a perfect ass weekend this was. Count the ways, man. That weather shifted in time for us to just want to be outside the whole time. I really enjoyed our pregame show at Hotel Indigo on the roof there as the weather got better and better and better.
It's one of the better ones we've had.
Yeah, I went to the game, sat in the stands, cheered my head off, watched Florida State kind of bounce back from a god-awful second quarter and take care of business in short order after giving up the long kickoff return, which I know that's frustrating. It is, but they bounced back nicely and they got the run game going. And as we suspected they might, and they win. They don't cover, but they win. And more to work on, but they keep on winning. That's 11 straight wins for Florida State. You can never really overlook the significance of that at a time where parity reigns supreme in college football. Florida State has won 11 straight games. That news is good. We'll dissect the game a little bit more, as we're wont to do on a Monday. But this one does not require as much in-depth breakdown as some of the other games, including games where I was more critical than I'm going to be today in wins that were more lopsided than the game that was played on Saturday. Saturday's weird. You know, Tom last week was frustrated with officiating. Hey, got nothing on what just happened Saturday inside Doak Campbell Stadium. That officiating was criminally bad and overt. That needs a review. That is something that Mike Norvell and company has to send into the league office, and the Fs at the league office will do nothing about it. But that was an abomination. And unfortunately, it's not unique to Florida State football right now. It's football in general. This emphasis on quarterbacks and protecting quarterbacks to a degree that is insane has reached epic proportions. It's you see it across the NFL and college football now. Everywhere you look, anytime a quarterback gets hit, I ought not be thinking that's a flag. But I always do, no matter what it looks like, no matter how banal it seems to be in the moment. I think they're going to throw a flag because he hit him. He touched him. He's touching the quarterback. Throw your flag. I know that seems like it might have hurt. Throw the flag. Very frustrating. Also changed what would have been a 50-something to 7 route and turned it into a game. That singular call did that. Now they added to it, but that call changed everything about where that was going. That's frustrating. But let's think about the weekend that was. Florida State wins, strengthens their position within that group of 4. The AP Top 25 poll, by the way, is out. Florida State's number 4, behind Ohio State, Michigan, and Georgia. I wouldn't have a problem with them being behind Michigan and Georgia. I do have a problem with them being behind Ohio State, but that's just me. Doesn't really matter for now. Oklahoma's at 5, Penn State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Southern Cal round out your top 10. I would have Alabama with a loss ahead of Southern Cal. It wouldn't be that close. I don't think USC is very good. Watched every second of their game against Arizona. They've got real problems. It's not just that they have to win games by scoring 40-something points every week, which they do. They have to score that much in order to win. It's that their defense, when it's bad for long swaths at a time. It's you think you guys get mad at Adam Fuller? Sweet Jesus, go watch Southern Cal try to play defense. That is hideous. Now, the good news, as you look at the landscape and we talk about fighting through with the beauty contest that is having the best looking resume or perceived best looking resume, which is the problem that has saddled college football forever, right? This idea that my resume is better than your resume when we don't play the same teams. And so it's very, very frustrating and can be subjective. Florida State's, I think, going to be in a good position here for a while. First of all, you got to remember this. Oregon and Washington play this weekend. All right, so you get that. USC and Notre Dame face each other this weekend. You have other matchups, Miami and North Carolina. And, yes, I'm going to get to Miami. UCLA and Oregon State play each other. Auburn and LSU. Everybody else is kind of whatever. That's your stretch of games that you're going to want to look at on Saturday that could affect the perception of Florida State's positioning for the college football playoff. The other thing that affects the perception of Florida State's ranking and where they sit within that group for the college football playoff is, actually playing and winning games. Florida State will play a game on Saturday. They will play it against Syracuse, and they will beat the hell out of Syracuse. That team's terrible. So just like we told you before Virginia Tech, this shouldn't be a problem. It's not really a problem. You have a dicey moment and a frustrating moment. It seems like every week we're going to have that. but Florida State was far and away the better team. They dominated the game. And then I think this weekend they may even do a better job of that against Syracuse. I think Syracuse is in their annual free fall. This is what they do. They start out, they play, the Sisters of the Poor and a few other directional schools. They win some games and people go, oh, look at that. They're 4-0. Then they play a couple of real teams, get their ass beat, and we're like, oh, yeah, back in your hole. That's Syracuse for now, and that's the way they look to me. As for Miami, this one's truly unique because I think it's the kind of thing that 100% warrants firing your coach, but they can't and they won't. And while I would stand behind firing a coach for that kind of colossal, asinine blunder, I don't think it's best for them to fire their coach. Like, if I'm looking at it objectively, I wouldn't fire him, even though that is a very fireable offense, fireable offense. I called around. I asked, I've never coached in college football. So I wanted to know, and I'm serious about this. I wanted to know who has hierarchy, who is allowed, typically speaking, on a staff to weigh in on the headset. So in the moment that the fun time I had in the spring game wearing the headset, something that stood out to me while listening to the plays being called, both offensively and defensively, was the amount of voices that are in a head coach's ear, okay? So Mike Norvell, and that is the process every week, whether that was a spring game and we were having some fun or it's a regular season game. The process was the same, and he took us through it, and I'll be forever grateful for that, learning how they came up with what they wanted to call and why against what looks. So we got privy to that, right? And while we were wearing the headsets, I thought to myself, this is faster than you think it is. Everything is happening faster than you really realize than when you're sitting in the stands or watching at home on your couch. It's happening very quickly. There's a ton of information being digested, right? And so the head coach ultimately is hearing everything. And he can tell guys to shut up, or he can turn off their mic. He can ask somebody to stop talking. And I heard that. So that can happen. All right. But there are only really going to be about 3 people besides the head coach that are going to ever really weigh in on a headset in a game. You have an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, and then maybe an assistant head coach would be, and he's usually one of those. If he's not, he would also have a say. And the reason I'm bringing all this up is that can never happen. What happened, and it's awesome that it happened, and screw Mario Cristobal in Miami, and the pain that they caused is just wonderful, wonderful food for thought and joy. It's sustenance. It's the stuff that we love about college football. The agony Miami finds themselves in now with a head coach that can never be trusted again, a head coach that is no longer liked by his players, a fan base that once again has to come under the reality, the realization that they don't matter again for the 20-something year in a row. They are irrelevant yet again. That's all awesome. But I did want to get to the bottom of how that happens without a single person saying, what are you doing? How is it that nobody, I could be some slappy on the end of the bench if I have access to a headset. There's no chance. I don't care what my role is. I'm saving this guy's job. There's no chance you run that play. How does somebody not go, yo? No, we don't have to do this. No. Like, at the very least, and he said it afterwards in the press conference after kind of stutter-effing his way through that excuse at the beginning before finally taking ownership about 3 minutes into it. He says, well, we should have called timeout. And somebody said, well, why would you call timeout? Oh, yeah, you should have. If you were that kind of bumfuzzled over what to do, the tough decision between take a knee or not, then you should have called timeout. Because here's the deal. If you called timeout with 1 second on the play clock and then took a knee, you're still going to win. Georgia Tech doesn't have any timeouts, you dumbass. So as you're watching this, think to yourself, that everybody is so afraid of Mario Cristobal. That's the kind of environment that he has fostered in Miami, that nobody, not a single person, thought to say, this is dumb. Don't do this. Coach, you don't know me. It's Jerry. I'm the equipment guy. I'm letting you know now. Don't run a play. Take a knee. Somebody's got to tell him. But nobody did. And the fact that it never comes up shows you just how fractured that environment must be, that work environment must be. It's impossible. It is impossible to have that happen. You have to wonder how it is your coach sat stupefied as the waning seconds of that game ran off and we see a kid shrieking behind and getting open as you're watching it.
As a lollipop is delivered into the secondary.
Oh, and it's a beautiful leading pass on the move. Just get you some of that.
Chad Pennington thinks that guy has a weak arm.
It's a beautiful throw, though, because he doesn't have to do anything else with it. He leads them while running. All he's got to do. By the way, kid almost blows it. That little stupid slide thing with the new slide rules, they could have.
That was close.
Don't do that, dumbass. Run through into the end zone. What are you doing?
It was Jordan Travis against Florida. They would have marked him at the 1.
Also, there were levels of dumbassery happening everywhere. Somehow, Brent's on the other sideline trying to outdo him with the little squib kick out of bounds. Is this the dumbest group of people ever assembled to coach football? So as I was watching that again, over and over again, I thank goodness, by the way, for what's his face, the color analyst, one of the brother who played quarterback.
Hasselbeck.
Yeah. Was it Matt Hasselbeck or was it Tim?
Matt.
I don't remember. So you could tell without saying it, he's trying to let everybody know, I can't believe what I'm seeing. What are they doing? I think was a phrase uttered, or, well, don't do this. You don't have to do this. This is all before the snap. He's recognizing they're about to do this thing. It seems as if the football gods have a wonderful sense of humor. The game was going to end and Miami was going to win, but then they lined up in something other than victory formation, and the football gods went, oh, really? You want that kid to get 100 yards rushing, don't you? You selfish son of a bitch. He wouldn't admit it. He was asked that very question after the game. That's what he wanted. He's a former offensive lineman. Rushing yards is an offensive line stat. I'll bet you anything. In his gut, he wanted that kid to get 100 yards rushing. It's all crazy. The only other scenario that you can think of was something else he was asked after that game, which was, did you think they had a timeout? Because, by the way, just so people at home know, that is a reasonable and plausible explanation.
Did you think it was a different down? Yeah.
So
right.
Here's the thing. If you thought they had a timeout, you could remedy that situation very quickly. You could look up at the scoreboard and see that they didn't. There's that one. You're also, as a head coach, allowed to turn to the side judge and ask, do they have any timeouts? They have to tell you. He could have done either one. He didn't either, apparently. So either he thought they had a timeout or he wanted to get that kid 100 yards rushing, or both. But either way, all of it is a level of dumbassery that we should sit back in awe and ponder for the years to come. It is unimaginable. And it all leads to the kind of pain that I want every Miami fan to feel on a weekly basis. I love it. I hate that program. I hate that team. I hate their fans. And to see them have to suffer to this degree is heaven. Screw them eternally. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department arrested a man in connection to a deadly shooting that took place August 22nd near the Lawrence Gregory Community Center. The suspect was identified as 18-year-old Zion Kilpatrick. TBD said Dalterius Shorter and Zion Kilpatrick attempted to rob two men in the 1100 block of Dade Street during a firearm transaction. An argument broke out before multiple gunshots were fired off. During the exchange, a man was struck and died from his injuries. Shorter was also injured in that shooting and died after being transported to a local hospital. After a thorough investigation, Kilpatrick was located by police on October 6th and arrested him after a foot pursuit. Georgia's Governor Brian Kemp has signed an executive order that continues the suspension of the state's tax on motor and locomotive fuel. This order means the gas tax suspension remains in effect until 11:59 p.m. on November 11th. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Frobley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Bright sunshine expected this afternoon with a high of 78. Winds out the west around 5 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows around 51. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Highs around 82. Chance for scattered rain showers Wednesday with a chance for scattered storms Thursday. Highs in the mid-70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 75.
Zaxby's new chicken bacon. Ranch chicken ranch. Ranch bacon. Chicken bacon ranch bacon. Loaded fries. Sorry, cheese. You're important too. Woo, saucy. Zaxby's.
Your next chance to splash into some cash with Swain Pools and Spas to win $1,000 is coming up at 2 p.m. Listen out for the keyword, and all you got to do is text the keyword for a chance to win $1,000.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The Bonk on Lechong, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The Bonk on Lechong, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Hello, Leon County. Let's get ready to win with Ken. I'm Ken Preston. I want to be your next Leon County property appraiser. I'm driven, committed, experienced, and a dedicated community servant. I'm ready to put my experience as a former property appraiser to work to help make a difference for the people of Leon County. Let's go to work. Vote for me. Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser 2024. Win with Ken. A political advertisement by Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. TSparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Both watching Florida State win again and Miami lose in that fashion. That will make the year. We wait for football season 8 months, and then Miami gives us that gift, and you think it's so worth it.
So you watched it to the bitter end, and you saw
I
it
stayed up
happening in
all the
real
way
time.
through the end of the USC Arizona game. Double overtime.
I did too, but there were multiple televisions in my purview, and when Miami crosses the threshold of the line to gain with under 2 minutes and no timeouts from their opponent,
You thought it was over.
I rightly thought it was
So
over.
did every Miami fan watching, all 10 of them in attendance there.
My focus rejoined the game because I never turned it off. Well, I was at the corner pocket,
Right.
Full transparency. Delightful, delightful moment to be at a sports bar with Knoll fans. That's an all-time memory. We'll never, ever forget it. But
Deafening laughter.
the whole rest of the night, the whole USC Arizona game, which every once in a while somebody goes, ha, out of nowhere.
Right.
Attention turns away from that television screen. About a minute and a half later, after all of this nonsense happens, I turn back, I look at it, and the TV broadcast is showing Georgia Tech's kicker. And I'm thinking, well, that's strange. The game's over.
Why would
are you
they show
showing
that guy?
The
Yeah.
Georgia Tech kicker. And they show Georgia Tech's head coach.
Why are they showing him?
And then they show the field, and I see Georgia Tech has the ball. And I ask the bar owner, Bill, our friend, why does Georgia Tech have the ball? And he goes, you won't believe this, but here's why. And so by the time I get caught up, they're spiking the ball with 10 seconds to go. I'm hearing the tale about Miami just deciding to go rogue, spiking the ball 10 seconds, and then we all watch together as King breaks the pocket and rolls right. And as the camera pans, you're thinking, surely there's 10 black jerseys behind where the ball is going.
I know, man. I know. It is, the thing is, think about how good the Miami-North Carolina game would be. The networks have all got to be like, are you effing kidding me, man? So not only is that an all-time blunder that allows you to lose to that Georgia Tech team 23-20. So, again, how many of you didn't see it? I guess I should set that up. By now, you've gone back to watch exactly what it was. But Miami has the ball. By the way, they have the ball in Georgia Tech's territory, by the way, just so you know. It's not like down at their 10 where they're nervous about anything.
Yeah.
They have the ball on the other side of the 50. Georgia Tech has no timeouts. There's 30 seconds left to play. You can stop talking right there. 99.9% of people in that situation know exactly what's about to happen.
That's why I stopped paying attention. I did the math.
It's over. But I will tell you this, just to show you that I have real feelings and I am human. I feel really bad for Don Chaney Jr., the kid who fumbled. Now, I mean, come on, kid, hold on the ball. But I feel hold on. But I feel bad for him. I do. He looks like he's seen a ghost. He can never trust that coach again. I saw the players attempting to console him. They were further away from the offensive lineman who was caught saying over and over again, WTF, followed by, what are we doing running the ball? Which is the question everybody else has in that situation. My favorite part about this whole thing, besides the colossal blunder, is it's not a fumble. He's down. The refs blew the call. So is there a way to pour more salt into the wound of a Miami fan is always the angle I'd like to take. And the answer is, yeah. Have that be the wrong call. It's already acknowledged by everybody in attendance. This is dumb. My coach cannot be trusted. I can't believe we're in this situation. But then when you see the replay, you go, oh, he's down. We're going to get out of jail free. Unbelievable. We're going to get away with it. Come on, Mario. What? Call stands. What? And you're reminded that we're in this conference with these bums that officiate the games.
Well, hang on. We are in the All Canes conference. So they should look at things differently than we do. It's their conference after all.
It's a wondrous turn of event. So, the other part of it, just so you know, is Georgia Tech had to go 74 yards in 3 plays with no timeouts. So just so you know, they had to go 74 yards in 3 plays with no timeouts in order for this to happen. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. I do think they've got to get a handle. I'm not going to turn today's show into this referendum on officiating because it seems they allow us to do that every week, but they really got to get a handle on does it feel like it's getting worse, or do we have more access to things than we've ever had before? I'm not sure. It feels like it's getting worse. Our game was
the first half specifically
overwhelming evidence. Yeah. I mean, how do you not call the tug on the shoulder for Ja'Kai? I mean, he's it's not.
You get a downfield hold on Casey Roddick that
nobody has seen.
That's a new definition of holding by me.
It's not holding. There's it goes on and on. That's not roughing the passer in any way, shape, or form.
You got a crackback block, the new age rule on Azarie on one of the runs up the middle of the field.
Oh, there's a bunch of stuff there. It's something. It's every week, though, and it's every game. That's what I always point out to kind of rebuke the idea that there's some sort of insidious everybody out to get you planned endeavor from the ACC officials to screw Florida State is look around. Just look around, guys. It happens to everybody every week. And I watch it and I think, oh, that's the wrong call. But I'm not as adamant or as angry, and my memory isn't as long because it's not involving my team. We remember every bad call against our team. The other bad calls that we witnessed throughout the college football Saturday, it's just in passing, oh, they screwed that kid. Oh, well, click over to the next game. This one's gone to commercial. That's how we look at the other games. But it does feel like there is a special level of sorry that has been sprinkled throughout officiating. And I think it's probably less to do with the individuals on the field and more to do with the ever-growing mandates that we are to look at this. We are to, when in doubt, call this, call that, as opposed to let something play. It goes back a ways to Doug Rhodes. We were there. We went into the officiating forum in Charlotte. And when they began to use that kind of language,
when in question,
I got nervous. It's almost like it's a little bit the way that, we talk about things that are over litigious. This feels like that. There are moments where you're like, no, don't side with I want to call a penalty. Let's side with I don't want to call a penalty. We want the game to be decided by the players. So when in doubt, don't call the penalty. Instead, they look at it the opposite way. When in doubt, always throw the flag.
Except there are many places where you could be in doubt about throwing a flag. Like, say, when they did call the hold on Casey Roddick downfield, and Jordan does get hit late. Mm-hmm. It's a hit on the quarterback. It took about 5 of them this season before we got a call. So if you believe that the ratio is maybe 2 out of 4 hits on the quarterback, 3 out of 5 hits on the quarterback, if it's a hard one, there is a flag hitting the ground, we're at 1 out of 5. Explain that to me.
Yeah, well, and you're talking about late after he slid as opposed to somebody standing up.
Oh, but they are so ready to call targeting in those situations typically.
Yeah, and I would never call it. I'd have to see something so blatant because I hate the rule. Quarterbacks on a run who are really athletic like that, I've got to run as fast as I can possibly run to have any chance to make a tackle on this kid because he's an elite athlete. And now I'm engaged and I'm coming downhill and now I'm about to dive and now he slides. And if I hit you, I'm dead in the water 9 times out of 10. And it's going to look worse than it actually was.
Not 9 times out of 10 if it's Jordan Travis. It's 2 times out of 10.
Yeah. No, they've missed a few, but
I agree with you that the spirit of that rule is impossible and they throw the flag way too often. But I think it's also objectively true that the rate that we're getting that call is not the same as the general rate that we've seen across college
I'd like
football.
to be in the room for when they're reviewing that because they try to make adjustments. They try to learn from their failures. I know that's true. They try to learn and they use things as teaching moments because they understand that officiating is really difficult. And so they get into these rooms and every week, every coach in America sends handful, sometimes more, calls to the league office, any league, right? Pac-12, at least for one more year. Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC, they all do it. And every coach in that league is going to have probably a call or two a game, bare minimum, that they want an explanation on. So that's a lot to review for the leagues. And it's a lot to go over and understand with a fine-tooth comb. Hey, when in doubt, Jerry, we probably don't want to call this. It didn't affect the play. It's away from the ball. Borderline anyhow. Let's let that one go. But I just think, again, the way that they've directed officials to when in doubt, when in question, as Tom noted, throw the flag, it creates a mindset in which they're looking to throw a flag.
Yeah.
And so that's, to me, you got to go back to square one with that and remember that this is a violent game and that everybody who signs on the line, which is dotted to play the game, understands that they're putting themselves at risk. Now, I'm not saying you don't want to throw flags where there are obvious penalties. Of course not. And I do think you have to side with player protection on certain aspects of the game, such as what they've done with kickoffs. Those are ways to impact the game positively and look out for the health of players. But between the lines, when we're running plays and we get borderline hits, I mean, you're wearing a helmet for the reason that your heads are going to collide. That's why you're wearing a helmet. Because they used to not wear helmets and people died. So they wore the helmets to protect from these kinds of injuries to the head. You don't have to go much further than that. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, and that's not to say that we weren't guilty of some things. Like the Keon Coleman hold, that's poor technique. He's got one hand around his arm. I mean, whether or not you want to call that a hold, technically, his technique is so poor that you're going to get that flag thrown. You got to be inside. All right, no problem. Pre-snap infractions, I don't know what the hell Maurice was doing. He's never been like that with snap infractions, but absolutely, those are calls. We got away with a hold on one of our touchdown runs. Offensive line, sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Yeah.
But if we're going to bean count all of these moments from Saturday
right, but that's
do
why
so
I
in
don't
an
want
honest
to do
way,
it. Yeah.
well, what I'm saying is that impacts the flow of the game, the tenor of the game, and the margin of the game. I didn't play it, so I've got no issue. But it did impact the margin of the game by 2 to 3 scores, I would think.
Without question. No, and I actually didn't play our game either on this card. By the way, speaking of which, we went 6-4 with Redemption Thursday. I went back and decided to tally it up. I wanted to know what the overall record was. We had a few of you asking about this. My wins this week were Western Kentucky. You're damn right. Loss was Central Michigan. I won with UTSA. They did rally, Tom, and get that win. Remember, I was asking about it at the pregame show. We needed UTSA to step up. They did, covered by a half point. Got a win there. Lost the Washington State UCLA game. Lost the Texas A&M moneyline bet against Alabama. Good game. Real good game, by the way. I won the North Carolina bet against Syracuse, and did I? My God. I won the Georgia game against Kentucky, and that's a problem, everybody. Georgia's back to being Georgia. That game was never competitive. They are that much better than every team in the SEC. And when they care to play, if they feel threatened in some way, that's your problem. That's an ass stomping. That's a 14.5-point give, and they could have named their score in that football game. I lost the Texas-Oklahoma game, thankfully. There we go.
Oh,
Boomer Sooners suck at Texas again.
Sark's best friend is Mario Cristobal.
My God.
Because on 3rd and 9, where a first down ends the game, or ends regulation at the bare minimum, with your kicker kicking the ball, or you score a touchdown, you call a draw, and you're not playing for two downs there?
I know.
Sir,
well, I mean,
that is
I'm sure
chicken.
Texas fans are not in love with him these days.
That
he doesn't win.
Chicken.
I mean, well, look.
And then you rush 3 on your first play when they get the ball with over a minute to go. I don't care they have no timeout. You rush 3?
I will also tell you,
sir,
Dylan Gabriel's good. He's really good.
He hadn't been great that game, but what do you do?
He was really good when he had to be.
He was good when he had to be. He ran for more than he threw at that point in the game, but they're over midfield in 15 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia Tech at the end of the Miami game thinks that Oklahoma was over midfield pretty fast.
So I lost that game, but I won the Eastern Michigan Ball State game, and I won the UAB moneyline game against USF. That's right, USF. You got blown out by Trent Dilfer. But someday you'll be part of that group.
It's the magic of that stadium. I'm assuming they played in Tampa.
I don't know if they did or didn't. I just know I had UAB to win the game outright. Picked them on the money line. They did. They won. So I went 6-4. Anyhow, so I went back through. I am 33-26-1. That's what we are this year. So we're making money, guys. 33-26-1 will work. I like it. You know what I'm tired of? I'm tired of having the NFL picks on my card at the house have to be what bails me out. What world are we living in? So I was a game under 500 in the picks that I have with my bookie. In the college, I had 20 bets. I went, actually, the 20 bets in college, I went 9-11.
Hey, be careful.
Okay, Patino.
Hey.
Billy Minardi Hall.
Don't you dare.
So I went 9-11, but I had 4 NFL picks, and I went 3-1 with my NFL picks. And I'm like, well, so we had a good week. I mean, we did all right. But
one of them was Detroit, Carolina, I imagine.
Yeah, there was some easy.
That's an easy one.
Well, and I had Philadelphia given 4. And they made me nervous for a while. I was like, what are we doing out here?
That touchdown in the end of the first half was the biggie.
I was getting very concerned.
That's going to be outlawed next year. I think everybody's done with it. The brotherly shove. Once you name it something like that, it's over. We're done. Nope, that's ridiculous. Good enough reason to cancel that play.
By the way, the Niners did whatever they wanted against a Dallas defense that was allowing 10 points per game. That Niners team is it's not close, the best team in football. It's not close. They're really good. And it's crazy to think what they've done. By the way, just regular season, if they hadn't had half their team out, including their starting 2 quarterbacks, probably win that game last year. They've won 15 straight regular season games. Did you know that?
No, I did not. 15 straight?
15 straight regular season games for the Niners.
The other thing is, for Dallas, I think now with this piece of evidence, the fact that they had played the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, and lost. and lost, lest we forget.
Mhm.
And New England before this game against the 49ers means that maybe it was a little bit of fool's gold.
Well, I just think at this point that we talk about referendums. I mean, we're probably about done with Dak Prescott, are we not? I mean, have we now seen that we've turned the corner in the wrong way here with Dak?
The NFC West, the 49ers and Cardinals have averaged 35 points on Dallas.
Yeah.
35 points a game. Maybe it was the fact that they played the two New York teams and the Patriots.
Speaking of which, do we have to have a moment where we go for a walk by the river and look at the rabbits with Bill Belichick?
I believe so. Come here, Lenny.
I mean, we may be at that time. Bill, why don't you stare off there into the distance and check the sun as it sets?
We're on to Cincinnati, brother. We're
We're on to Cincinnati.
Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
This is Jamie McClenny of Trek Financial, co-host of Cover Your Assets here on Real Talk 93.3. Since three of the largest bank failures in U.S. history last March, the S&P 500 is up over 10% as D.C. politicians added an additional $1.5 trillion in spending after raising the debt ceiling. This rally has been extremely narrow as a handful of mega-cap stocks are responsible for over 70% of the gain on the S&P 500 year-to-date. The yield on the 10-year Treasury has been below the 3-month rate for over 200 trading days, the longest streak in 6 decades. As one economist quipped, ignore these signals at your own risk. Managing downside risk is one of the biggest challenges that you will face in retirement. But a clearly defined risk management protocol can help to mitigate large drawdowns in your retirement nest egg. If you're concerned about where all of this might be headed, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule an office visit to discover the risk in your current portfolio.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
The leaves are starting to fall, the temperatures will start to fall, and the prices are falling right now at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. Incredible dealer discounts up to $5,000 are available on all hot spring spas, the industry leader in hot tubs and spas. If you've never experienced the sensation and relaxation of having your own hot tub in your backyard on a cool evening, you're truly missing out. The cold months are coming, and now's the time to set yourself up for the best winter season you've ever had. Plus, you'll gain the added health benefits of reduced stress, relief of sore muscles, and better sleep. You'll feel so relaxed after a nice soak in your new hot spring spa. You'll experience some of the best sleep of your life. Head over to Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road and check out their huge showroom packed with the best selection of hot tubs and spas available. And ask about getting up to $5,000 in discounts, low interest financing, and a free accessory to make your hot tub dreams come true. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Jeff, are we getting a Dino Babers interview this week? He's always great. Appreciate that, Pete Simpson. I'm sure he's in a great mood. You know, I need to go back and watch Clemson Wake. What's going on there?
Oh, man. It was 10-6 forever.
17-12 final, just kind of Raise an eyebrow.
So I saw while we were playing our game, No Context College Football, which is a wonderful follow.
Yeah.
Like if you're just looking for good follows without the toxicity of the cesspool that is social media, No Context College Football is your kind of thing. It showed the drive charts and the summaries, and it's like missed field goal, punt, fumble, field goal, and the whole game. I'm going, what in the world? So it's 10-6 in the fourth quarter, and I flipped over to it on TV number 2 during a commercial break for the Noles. Clemson scores, but then Wake still makes a game of it. They got a 2-point conversion at the end. It was nip and tuck, to say the least.
Yeah, and I don't know what to make of that. You can watch a 17-12 game, and you can come away with the idea that was a really well-played, hard-fought game that was in the balance. And then other times you can watch a 17-12 game and go, well, that was never in doubt. Wake wasn't going to win that game. I need to go back and watch it. I looked at the numbers, and Clemson won the game, but it is it's fascinating to think about where we sit now. And if we want to look big picture, and I do, I'm increasingly wanting to do this now. It's you're hard pressed to say with any certainty you're for that for a fact. And let's go back through. I had this somewhere here. I had my not my top 25. I know they released it, and I was just looking at the AP and the results of those games. Here it is. So, yeah, Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State are your top 4 in the AP. I'm just going to use the AP just so that we have a reference. Oklahoma moved to number 5, and they should. That's a huge win. They're undefeated. Texas had looked very good coming into that game. That's a great win for Brent Venables in year 2 and for OU.
Good enough to leap over Oregon, Washington, and a host of other teams?
Well,
that's a lot of Texas love in that voting, I think.
It might be, but Texas had a significant win on the road against Alabama, so I think that you could say legitimately that was the best win of the year for anybody, and then for them to beat that team, it's interesting. We're just going on resumes, who you've beaten. Now, beating that Texas team that beat Alabama, and don't look now, Alabama's defense has turned back to being for real again, and that kid threw for over 300 yards against Texas A&M. Man, Nick Saban's a good coach. I don't know if you know that. He's a really good coach. Sweet Jesus. That Alabama team, so here you go, college football. That Alabama team, which got beat at home by Texas convincingly and looked lost in the wilderness, who went on the road and was in a 7-point game in the fourth quarter against USF, who I might point out lost to UAB this weekend and gave up 56 points doing so.
So UAB had an easier time of it than Alabama did.
Correct. UAB was up 56-14. That was never a game. Alabama was holding on for dear life against USF. Legitimately. Football's crazy. And now and I know that if Alabama played USF this Saturday, 63-0 Alabama, that would never be competitive. But this is the oddity of it all, right? Things can go sideways. Things get away from you in the moment. Kids press, all that kind of thing. It's real. And so week to week, you're kind of like, well, I don't know. I just don't know. Because I'll tell you, I don't think Louisville's that good.
Whoa, that feels like a hot take after that win.
I don't think they are. I think they're good. I don't think they're that good. That was a good spot to play Notre Dame. A very good spot to play Notre Dame.
They should have with it and then some.
Well, here's what I will tell you. I think that Braum is a great coach. And I've always thought that. I think he's a very, very, very good coach on the cusp of being a great coach. He's smart. His teams are prepared. There's always a game plan. When you watch them, a lot of times they just get out-talented. You'll say, oh, they're just not good enough. But it's not that they get out-coached. He's a very good coach. And he had that team ready, and it was a night game at home, and they were frenzied, and they played well, and they caught Notre Dame at a good time. I don't think they're better than Notre Dame. They were on that night. They deserve all the accolades. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. This is not a shot. I'm indifferent about Louisville. I really am indifferent about Louisville.
It's a potential resume booster. It's
a huge resume booster, long as Notre Dame goes on to take care of business. And speaking of which, they have a very big game this weekend.
No, I'm talking for us. You're saying who's going to be the highest-ranked opponent. If we can get to Charlotte and play Louisville, well, they've got the inside track to being really high up in the top 25 at that point if they continue to mow down this schedule that they have.
Think Notre Dame bounces back this weekend against USC?
This schedule is brutal.
It is brutal, and they're given 2.5. They're favored to win the game.
I think that they're going to be pleasantly surprised, Notre Dame fans, with what their offense looks like on Saturday. Yeah. That's what I think.
Think they'll score against USC? Me too.
Yeah.
I whose resume?
Who's good?
Well, Georgia's good. I think Georgia's legitimately good. I think Georgia looks like a team that's won back-to-back national championships and kind of sleptwalked their way through the start of the season and then felt or heard the chatter surrounding Kentucky coming into that game, and they felt maybe threatened because the film would have told them, well, we got to play. We got to play. You know, the film against Auburn wouldn't tell you got to play. When they watched the film of Cal, Auburn, 14-10, Georgia didn't go, ooh, I'm really worried about Auburn. They didn't. But when they watched Kentucky run for 900 yards against Florida and bludgeon the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively, they thought, okay, they got a little something. People were out here talking about us like we're not any good. Let's go ahead and put it on them. We'll play this one. And I have a feeling they're going to look weird like that all year long. You're going to have inexplicable, close games against teams they don't respect.
That's also something that's coming to college football, and it's not going away. And I'm not saying people will say, oh, it's because NIL and entitlement. No, when you got 12 teams that can make the playoff.
Yeah.
In the NFL, really good teams have stinkers out of nowhere.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And that's coming to college football because the urgency of going undefeated simply won't be there for a program like a Georgia. Now, there will be group of 5 teams
that have to keep winning.
They have to keep
winning, yeah.
But for a program like Georgia or Alabama, Ohio State, hopefully we get back in that conversation, you will see stinkers out of nowhere because of the expansion of the playoff. It's just going to happen.
And the good news is that, again, we've got a lot of teams that are in this beauty contest that are about to face each other. I mentioned USC and Notre Dame. Of course, we're excited to watch Washington, Oregon this weekend, which is huge because you have 2 undefeated teams in a situation now where
catch the second half of that game. We got that noon kick. Hey-o.
Love me some noon kicks.
And the ACC did us right by giving us a primetime kick a week from now. That's news, folks. It's going to be 7:30 or 8 p.m. for Florida State and Duke in 2 weeks' time.
You know what's weird? In truth, you should root for Miami this weekend against North Carolina. Get them the hell up out of here, too. We don't play North Carolina.
Should
so we
is
can't,
a strong word.
Yeah, if it happens, you won't be disappointed is a better way of saying it because we don't play North Carolina. We don't get a chance to blemish the record. So if you get a Miami win over North Carolina and you play Miami here and take care of business, one more team that can take it on down the road. Take it on down the road, buddy. You're about done dealing. I'm all about, from here on out, provided we win, as we're supposed to. We favored it every game we play the rest of the way. I'm just going to sit around being like, you can take it on down the road. You're no longer relevant. You take it on down the road. You're no longer relevant. How many relevant teams remain as we get to the nitty-gritty and steamroll towards November? I'd say it every weekend. Oh, you work on Oregon State. That's loss number 2. Done talking about you for the rest of the year. Okay, that's you. That's loss number 2 for you. Washington State, you get the hell up out of here. That's loss number 2 for you already. Notre Dame, you get the hell up out of here. USC, you just lost to so-and-so. You get the hell up out of here. I'm going to keep doing this over and over and over again.
Okay, we've got 2.5 minutes left in this hour. It's probably a big picture topic, but I figured I'd at least let you chew on it. It's kind of like the optometrist game. This is the best part of going to the optometrist is when they do the lens tests.
I was just there about 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't gone to pick up my new glasses, and they're mad. They leave me a message every day. They're like, hey, man, your glasses are here. And I'm like, you're on the other side of town. I'll get there when I get there.
The best thing about the eye exam is, when you're like, oh, my God, I can see even better.
Yeah.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
Okay. How about 3?
I hate that question. It is an existential crisis for me. Every time I'm like,
really? I love it.
No, I love it, but I hate it because I'm like, I think I'm seeing better with 2.
Yeah.
Can you show me 1 again?
But then they come back and like, okay, now 1 or 6.
Yeah.
1 and 6, which is better.
Yeah.
So what I would ask you.
I just don't know.
Yeah. With our evidence from Saturday, data points, there's words and buzz terms that go around every year. It feels like everybody says data point this year on College Game Day, all the way down the line. But now that you have another point of data, do you feel better, worse, or about the same about what we are after Saturday? Better, worse, or about the same?
About the same. About the same.
3 or 4. Better, worse, or about the same?
I'm going to go with about the same. I think that here's what I know. I'd really like to see us put it together for a full game. That's all. I'm not saying that emphatically. I'm not pounding my fist in anger. I'm not saying that because I think we stink. There's no hidden message behind any of that. It'd just be nice to see us play 4 quarters. Haven't yet. It'd be nice. But am I going to bitch about it and whine about it today? Am I going to go on and on and on thinking that makes us the pits of the world? No, because I've watched all these other teams too, and I'm like, well, they're not great either. Georgia's the team right now that if you listen, you know how last week I said there's not a team in the country that I would prefer we not match up with because I think we could beat anybody? I'm wrong.
So one game from Georgia changes all of that.
No, they just asserted what they were and who they are in a way that we kind of suspected they would be. And if the quarterback could play the right role and not screw it up, we knew they were loaded everywhere else, and they are.
It's also a great matchup for them, as you pointed out, when it came to wager time.
And that's why I jumped on it as soon as the line came out. I didn't know how Kentucky was going to score. But I would say this. When they care, I think they're a problem for the rest of the country. And you have to hope they don't care enough that maybe they stumble along the way and lose twice. And then I'll say, you too, take it on down the road. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
This is Jamie McClenney of Trek Financial, co-host of Cover Your Assets here on Real Talk 93.3. Since 3 of the largest bank failures in U.S. history last March, the S&P 500 is up over 10% as D.C. politicians added an additional $1.5 trillion in spending after raising the debt ceiling. This rally has been extremely narrow as a handful of mega-cap stocks are responsible for over 70% of the gain on the S&P 500 year-to-date. The yield on the 10-year Treasury has been below the 3-month rate for over 200 trading days, the longest streak in 6 decades. As one economist quipped, ignore these signals at your own risk. Managing downside risk is one of the biggest challenges that you will face in retirement, but a clearly defined risk management protocol can help to mitigate large drawdowns in your retirement nest egg. If you're concerned about where all of this might be headed, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule an office visit to discover the risk in your current portfolio.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Taxes are too high. Spending is too high. Why did Matt Gaetz join Nancy Pelosi, AOC, and over 200 Democrats in killing the Republican plan to cut Washington spending and strengthen the border? Because Matt Gaetz would rather promote himself than protect taxpayers from runaway government spending. Conservative Republicans had a deal to cut spending by 8% and restore Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. The plan would have protected taxpayers and our borders. But Matt Gaetz killed it. Matt Gaetz spends too much time chasing TV cameras and not enough time working together with conservatives to rein in Washington spending. Call Matt Gaetz at 850-479-1183 and tell him to stop voting with Democrats and start siding with Florida taxpayers. Paid for by Americans for Tax Reform. Learn more. Visit atr.org/cut spending.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Don't go anywhere. Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up next on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday meeting the Buffalo Bills in London. Bills are the 5.5-point favorite, 48.5 the total at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Travis Etienne rushing prop bet of the board for the Jaguars, 63.5 rushing yards. Also Sunday, the Atlanta Falcons, a 1.5 home favorite against the Houston Texans. College football tomorrow, Florida laying 18 at home at Vanderbilt, the total 52 at the Swamp. Florida 21-1 against Vanderbilt since 1960. The loss a year ago, 31-24 in Nashville. Florida State laying 23.5 at home against Virginia Tech. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Yo, J Balvin here. Verizon just hooked me up with a new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. How can you get one? By switching to my plan at your Verizon store, get the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro on them. When you trade in any iPhone, any model, any condition, guaranteed. And listen to my new song, Dientes, on your way to get the new iPhone 15 Pro.
Don't miss out. Switch to my plan from Verizon today. It's your Verizon. $999.99, 128 gigabyte only. Device name to purchase or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on unlimited ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Juice Reel, the betting intelligence tool that's making better bettors. Open the App Store and get your hands on Juice Reel. Juice R-E-E-L. Juice Reel. Juice R-E-E-L.
Hello, Leon County. Let's get ready to win with Ken. I'm Ken Preston. I want to be your next Leon County property appraiser. I'm driven, committed, experienced, and a dedicated community servant. I'm ready to put my experience as a former property appraiser to work to help make a difference for the people of Leon County. Let's go to work. Vote for me. Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser 2024. Win with Ken. Paid political advertisement by Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
It's time to splash into cash with Swain Pools and Spas. Here is your next keyword.
Deal. D-E-A-L. Deal. D-E-A-L. Deal.
Text that keyword now to 508-777-1000. That's 508-777-1000 for your chance to win $1,000. Sponsored by Swain Pools and Spas.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Damn near perfect right here in the capital city. My goodness. So I slept with the windows open last night, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
And woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, freezing. It was great. Well, it was 46.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say like with the raccoons outside,
No.
making noise in the, yeah.
No, I was out cold, and then I No, I woke up. My wife was in a ball next to me, just curled up. She's like, do we really need the windows open?
Giving you a death stare.
I was like, yes, we do. It's glorious.
Moment of kindness last night, overnight for my wife. I woke up with the comforter on me.
Aw.
And she had,
Yeah.
because she knew it had gotten pretty cold.
Got a little chilly, which was heaven. And then this morning, walking outside, thinking about Miami choking that game away in the manner in which they did, while I was holding a cup of coffee and laughing, replaying it in my head, imagining Miami fans looking on in horror as they see their dumbass head coach on the verge of running a play when he didn't need to. I thought, man, that's like anything bad that's ever happened to you that had a lasting impact, like maybe messed with your psyche a little bit. Like you joke all the time, and it's varying degrees of bad. I'm not talking about, life-altering as in somebody you care about passed away. I'm just talking about moments that you're like, you know what? To this day, I'll give you one. When my freshman year in college at ETSU, I was not used to driving in cold weather and when the roads were icy, and I had a Volkswagen Bug, and the engine's in the back on a Volkswagen Bug, so you're back heavy. And I went around a turn too quickly, and I just started going, whee, just spinning on the road. And I was trying to turn into the mall. I'll never forget. I was like turning into the mall, and I just kept spinning. And ever since then, for some reason, when I turn left, anytime I turn left, I'm kind of like, ooh. I double check.
You and Zoolander.
I'm looking very closely. So clearly that impacted me, that moment. But I think that for Miami fans from here on out, forevermore, for as long as Cristobal is their coach, they're going to be like, what's he doing now? Has anybody got a good handle on what this dumbass is going to do next? We're up by 28, but he could lose this game. Now, guys, we've seen this. So it's, every time there's a dubious play call, they'll be like, it's starting. He's doing it again. He can't help himself.
Personally, I'm really mad at Mike Norvell because he put the kneel down on tape. And I think Cristobal, if he reviews the tape of Tate putting his knee in the ground,
that's what you do.
He might learn something from it. It's a copycat league. Come on, Mike. Don't show the kneel.
I was in the stadium 30 years ago when Florida State beat Miami 28-10. It was on this date 30 years ago.
Wow.
Charlie Ward, 273 yards, 2 touchdowns. But it was Devin Bush's 40-yard interception that caused the crowd to go nuts. That's when we knew, suck it.
That team's being celebrated this weekend.
Yeah, and my buddy, and all, name dropping aside, my old teammate, my buddy William Floyd, of course, was on that team, and I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him and all of his teammates, some of whom I know, some I don't. I obviously know most from afar, but I just remember being how happy I was for him. But yeah, so it's cool because there have been a lot of images. If you're on Twitter and you're associated with Florida State in any way, or you follow Florida State and Florida State-like sites, then today you've seen that reminder bright and early when you got up about beating Miami on this day, 28-10. But what I really enjoy is that many of them have shots from the end zone or shots at an angle that let you see what the stadium looked like at that time. And in my mind, that's the most endearing time of the Doak experience. Now, the facelift that occurs later on, and my buddy was in the film school, which was housed there in the stadium. So much of that facade, which is now really, I think, the best facade in college football.
Oh, it's not close.
The interior of the stadium is not even close to as good as numerous other stadiums. But the facade is better than almost all, and if not all. And I remember when that was being built, and I remember, many times thinking to myself, oh, well, this is going to be closed off soon, and we're not going to be able to go in this way. And then when they were shutting down Pensacola Street, all of that, I have memories of that and all that. But I love that. I don't know why. It was airy. Stadium shouldn't be airy. You should be filled and packed in like sardines, I suppose. But it was airy, that stadium back in those days. So I liked it.
I'll bet you, though, judging by everybody who's commented on this at all, that the concessions were run better in 1993.
It's, buddy, I just don't.
I haven't found somebody yet who's like, you know what? It's great. Efficient. Quick.
Well, it depends an awful lot on where you are. I'm discovering in the stadium.
I don't think so.
Well, I bought 2 beers at the game on Saturday. And one of them, I got inside the stadium 30 minutes before the game.
So those are for Christy. I guess you were drinking water during the game?
No, I had 2 beers. I had one in the first half, one in the second half. And it was just, a light lager, buddy, just so you know. And the point would be, I found a little station there where I could get in that line pretty quickly. And actually, I only paid for one of them. The guy in front of me liked the show, and he was like, "Hey, let me buy you a beer." I was like, "All right,
nice.
Thanks, buddy." Yeah, it was awfully nice.
Good to be you.
And so anyhow, but yeah, that wasn't the end of the world, but I could see where people would be very, very frustrated. And I've walked in other parts of that stadium where I'm like, what are we doing?
Well, one of the worst parts is the alumni side with the big money boosters who are not sitting in the clubs.
And they're not happy about it.
Yeah.
They're very angry about it.
If you're going to have good concessions, you might want to do it at that part of the stadium.
Just do it, period.
Yeah, correct.
Make the experience
But if there's
one
only
that people
gonna be,
enjoy.
If there's only going to be 4 booths that are good, maybe use the 4 and spend that resource on the shady side of the stadium with the people who are dropping big amounts of money to get those season tickets.
I just think that in this day and age, it seems reprehensible that we would be engaged in this discussion to this extent in the way that we've been having this discussion for 5 years.
It was described to me by somebody on the alumni side that the only thing I can reasonably order and expect to be correct is popcorn, because you can't screw popcorn up. I don't do anything else because they're out of something's freezing cold, but popcorn, I see it popping. So I can trust that that's going to be okay. Like, what kind of world are we in? That's crazy because it's just free money.
Nah, it's strange. I don't, and I know that there are plenty of good people over there trying to do a good job, but the overall experience is obviously very frustrating for this fan base. That's objectively true.
And a lot of people the people on the ground, it's not y'all.
No.
But
last year, you remember how angry I got last year when we talked about this, and I'm probably not the guy. I mean, I understand that I have a voice that can be heard, and so we do relay these concerns from the fan base. We see it on our message boards. I see it on my Twitter.
Oh, dear God.
I run into people all the time who will say, hey, man, listen, I live in Tarpon Springs, and I come up to 2 games a year, and damn it, man, and I feel for that guy. I've got it easy. I got a press pass. If it pisses me off too bad, I just walk around and go up into the box and stand on the roof. But most people don't have that. Almost all people don't have that. And I get it. And it's dumb. And I get mad when I'm like, if I decide, all right, family, we're all sitting together this weekend. Let's do it up. And then you experience that. And then I think, well, I'm not going to get on the air and bitch about this. Last year I bitched because of the entrance problem, getting into the stadium, the whole getting into the stadium in time to see the game.
Yeah.
Well, that was asinine. That was ridiculous. That should never happen. That felt unsafe, I might add.
Yeah, there's a difference between, like, if somebody complains, we all know those complaints, they're usually on Facebook or Yelp,
Who checks Yelp?
But if it's over, well, what I'm saying is it'll be suggested on Google. There'll be like a Yelp review when you see it.
Right.
And if the review is over 40 words, what this is, what this is all about.
Yeah.
And the expression that person gave me made me uncomfortable.
Yeah. Here we go. Right.
It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the real complaint, which is I ordered some nachos and there's just a slice of cheese on there. It's not even melted. Like, okay, I hear you. That second one, that's a little different. That probably shouldn't happen. Maybe warm up the nachos.
I'll never know. I mean, I didn't, I was not in the hospitality school. I don't know what goes into this. I'm sure it's a lot, but I just know that, and again, taking it from a layman's standpoint, this is nowhere in my purview of expertise. I don't know anything about how that stuff gets done or, ways to make it more efficient, whatever. I just know that as somebody who goes to games and has gone to games all over the country, whether it is as a media person or as a fan, like you and I go down to several Tampa Bay Lightning games a year.
Yeah.
As fans, we don't even go as press. We just go to sit in the stands and have fun and enjoy the experience, right? And how good it is, how easy it is to get into MLA, how great the fan experience is for all involved. I can say this about any number of arenas and stadiums that I go to every year to see a baseball game, to see a football game, to see a basketball game. Last year, I went and saw the Hawks play the Sixers, and I had not been to an NBA game in eons. The last one I'd been to was the Lakers, and I watched the Lakers get housed when we were out in Los Angeles, which was awesome. But I noted that, man, that experience was awesome. We got in and out, no problem. Everything was efficient. They came around. You want anything at your seat? You don't even have to go. You don't even have to stand at the damn concession stand at most of these places anymore. You're just like, doot, doot, doot. Oh, look at that. My beer's here. Somebody guy's racing over to give it to you. Sir, I'm sorry. It took me 30 seconds. But I mean, it's amazing. And then there's our experience.
So you had a rough go again, besides the beers? Beers were okay?
I didn't have a rough go. I saw people having a rough go, but I did not have a rough go. But I can see where the frustration would mount and people get angry. They do. And it's worth bringing up because if you care about Florida State and you care about the experience and you care about getting people back in the city, spending money at restaurants and staying in our fair city and wanting to come back and continue to support a product that has now won 11 straight games and is number 4 in the country, you'd like that mirrored by the fan experience, right? You should care that this climb continues together. All of us excelling towards the top of the mountain.
Maybe we should just have a Zaxby's at every concession stand.
47 of them in the stadium.
That's right.
In the stadium.
The infrastructure.
47.
They've got the infrastructure to pull it off.
Now, you could never mirror the 102 that you have around town.
Right. You might have to whittle it down to 80 for game days because we have game day operations.
You mean take the 102 or 3 Zaxby's we have around town, close 20, 22 of them.
Yeah.
Put those
strategically placed,
and then have those guys work the concessions with Zaxby's in the stadium
with specialists for game day only operations as well.
Yeah. I like it. I want to be able to just hold my phone up to my face, and then they go, "Oh, Jeff wants Zaxby's.
He wants that chicken Philly."
They're like, "Look at my man sitting in row, 55, section 32, going, can I get some Zaxby's?" He held his phone to his face. It's a universal signal. It's like the bat signal.
You're now about to get found the next time you sit in the stands.
That's not the exact spot. Close enough. I'm a man of the people. I said hello to many this weekend as we celebrated another ass kicking together.
How many air fist pumps did you share with people? Like, okay, that's better. Because usually people turn around, they look around for somebody.
Air fist, I gave real fist bumps to those in the section. Real fist bumps. And then I gave a section or two over, little point and nod. Got to give the point and nod always. Couple sections. You have 3 sections down. We'll give you the point and nod. I see you over there, Chip. And then for others, while walking there in the bowels of the stadium, gave full-blown hugs. Took pictures. Pictures.
Like Urban?
Did take pictures. No, I wasn't fondling anybody. I took a picture, a literal picture.
You didn't go to recess?
No. Does anybody get in that cesspool, that pool of germs and nastiness that would have to be that pool?
I guess the players do.
The players jump in the pool at recess?
That's why you go to Florida State.
To jump in a germ-laden pool? I can't imagine that.
The generations, they come and go, but there is the recess of everybody's time, and that's where,
better off jumping in the fountain. But I would say that, and I have nothing against that. I've never been there. I've never been in that place. It's not a place for us, Tom. We've aged out of that place.
Oh yeah.
It's like when you were 23 years old and you would go over to, one of the bars on the Strip, and then you're like, I don't know. I feel like we're getting close to not being able to come here anymore. Now that 25, one last hurrah.
Yeah.
You go to Bullwinkle's, you're like, I don't need to be here. This is not me.
I was up there one time. It was 2016 Louisville. My friends from out of town were up there. During the afternoon, apparently it's a relatively chillaxed.
Well, I would think it's the middle of the afternoon.
Term, But you go up there and I just see the way it's laid out, and it's almost like when you go to an airport in a northern city and you see where they put all the snow from the snow plows. You're like, oh man.
Yeah.
You could feel the cold even in July.
Yeah, tough times, yeah.
I looked around, it's 4:00. I'm thinking, man, at 9, I can't imagine anywhere else I'd rather not be.
Yeah,
in this world.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be there.
No.
It's also a reminder of how dumb we all are in college.
Yes.
And I don't mean dumb as in intellectually inferior. I don't mean that. I mean like as in behaviorally.
The choices we make.
Oh, man.
In which we do.
Because you see it all around you. You're like, oh, look at this dumbass.
That was me.
And I probably did that. I argued with that guy for that thing, and I should not have. That was dumb. He's right. The security person is right, sir. You should. That is very dangerous.
Young man. Young man, you're wrong.
You're just wrong. You can't know it. You're delirious. You've had 16 beers before noon. You can't know.
Tommy, you're wrong. Why do you keep calling me Tommy?
Right.
You could do better.
You must do better. You must do better. I remember our good buddy, dear friend, producer extraordinaire Matt Millar once threw a brick after a football game.
What?
Not at anybody. He just thought it'd be great to throw a brick.
Sure he's thrilled that this is out there.
And a cop saw him and said, "What are you doing?"
Where?
He didn't hurt anybody. It was into grass. I'm not trying to, I'm just saying he just thought it'd be funny because he was blitzed. And he thought it'd be great to throw a brick. That's the kind of dumbassery that we're all capable of, fresh out of college or in college. You just don't know.
Where were you?
Walking.
You watched him throw this brick.
I didn't see it until the brick was in the air. But you know, it happens. It happens at colleges everywhere. And you want to wrap your arm around it. Back to the game experience. Can we get the game experience? Oh, good times. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. TSparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
Orthopedic pain and injury deserves effective treatment options now, so you feel better fast. Whether you have joint pain that won't subside or an urgent orthopedic injury, we are the specialists to get you back on your feet. And there's only one thing better than fast care: expert care. We believe you deserve both. TOC, only experts. Learn more at teamtoc.com.
The leaves are starting to fall. The temperatures will start to fall. And the prices are falling right now at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. Incredible dealer discounts up to $5,000 are available on all hot spring spas, the industry leader in hot tubs and spas. If you've never experienced the sensation and relaxation of having your own hot tub in your backyard on a cool evening, you're truly missing out. The cold months are coming, and now's the time to set yourself up for the best winter season you've ever had. Plus, you'll gain the added health benefits of reduced stress, relief of sore muscles, and better sleep. You'll feel so relaxed after a nice soak in your new hot spring spa. You'll experience some of the best sleep of your life. Head over to Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road and check out their huge showroom packed with the best selection of hot tubs and spas available. And ask about getting up to $5,000 in discounts, low interest financing, and a free accessory to make your hot tub dreams come true. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Taxes are too high. Spending is too high. Why did Matt Gaetz join Nancy Pelosi, AOC, and over 200 Democrats in killing the Republican plan to cut Washington spending and strengthen the border? Because Matt Gaetz would rather promote himself than protect taxpayers from runaway government spending. Conservative Republicans had a deal to cut spending by 8% and restore Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. The plan would have protected taxpayers and our borders. But Matt Gaetz killed it. Matt Gaetz spends too much time chasing TV cameras and not enough time working together with conservatives to rein in Washington spending. Call Matt Gaetz at 850-479-1183 and tell him to stop voting with Democrats and start siding with Florida taxpayers. Paid for by Americans for Tax Reform. Learn more. Visit atr.org/cut spending.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Going to happen again? Is it going to happen again tonight? 6:07 TBS, right? Philadelphia, Atlanta. Let Atlanta fall down to 0-2, and maybe thanks for the regular season. Whole lot of nothing.
I'll take your word for the start time in the network, but on Fox Sports, and this is one of the few channels that gets 4K on the YouTube TV, which is great, very appreciated. It does make a difference.
Dodgers late tonight at 9 o'clock, by the way. Who took an ass beating in game one? My God.
The state of Arizona had a message for the state of California and the city of Los Angeles. They went 1-1 in those games, both of them.
It felt like 2 wins.
It felt like 2 wins.
Yeah.
Watching the Twins last night, handed to the Astros.
6-2. We got us a series.
I love watching Pablo Lopez pitch. He's a pitcher. If you take a look at not pictures, but he's a pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
You take a look at the batting average against third time through the order. It's the lowest. His ERA, first time, second time, third time, it gets lower each way. I like watching dudes who know how to pitch in a day and age when you're supposed to throw as hard as you can for 5 innings. It's nice to see for a change.
I'm looking at those numbers, by the way. The Twins, that Twin series is going to be good. That's fun. Baseball's so cruel. I fell for my man, Irish Affel. I screwed it up last night on the smash.
What did you call the comeback or something?
No, I thought this is legitimate.
Oh, no.
I thought they won. And here's why. Let me.
I did not know this.
Oh, it's actually comical because it is an honest mistake. I was not trolling. Like, he thought at the beginning that I was trolling. He thought I was being an ass. And I was like, what gives? He's like, no, we got killed. I was like, oh, what? See, here's what happened. I saw the Orioles score 2 in the first and get out to a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
And it looked like all was going to be well on this afternoon. Camden's rocking. They've scored early. That's a really lethal lineup. It's a good situation. Texas's bullpen is awful. I figured they're going to get to that bullpen really soon. It was the worst bullpen of any team to make the postseason. It's not close. So I was like, oh, they're going to win this game. And then because I wanted to watch football, I watched the remainder of the football games. So then the last thought in my head was that the Orioles were up.
Well on their way.
And then the first thing I see when Ira joins me is he's got the Orioles cap on. He seems to be in a great mood. He's sipping a beer. And I just assumed wrongfully, obviously, that they won. And I was like, all right, there we go. Postseason. He just looked at me like I was insane. And now I know why, because they, at one point, I guess they were getting beat 10-2, and I didn't realize that.
Kneel the ball, man.
I apologize. He knows. I screwed it up. I did. Baseball is a mean, mean game. And it's meaner to the teams that exceed any reasonable expectation of a regular season. So if you don't believe me, all right, think about this. And baseball has always been this way. It's why when you do win a championship, when you win one, you've got to hold on to that puppy for life, because you could be a 116-game winner, and there's no guarantee in this truncated tournament you're going to play to that level of excellence. And here you go, as proof. None of the teams that won 92-plus games during the regular season have won a single playoff game. It's just like, what the hell, man? It's mean. It's a mean sport. And I think, and I've thought this before, when the Pirates won 98 games, that team, in my mind, was going to win the World Series because they had a balance of pitching. They were deep. Their bullpen was good, and their offense was great. But remember, they didn't win the division. And when they didn't win the division, I thought, we're in this truncated series. We are going to get effed. And we did. We did. And that team, which was built to win a 4 out of 7 series, didn't get to play one. And it's just cruel. It's just a cruel game. All right. So I'm just explaining that to you so you know. That's
as a Mets fan, I think yeah.
Well, no, yeah.
I get it.
Warchant.com joins us now. Hello, Ira. How are you?
I was good until I started listening talk about baseball.
I was.
So that came along.
How about that stat though? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It's and the whole this whole thing of the way they set up the wild cards, and then they end up all those teams swept in the wild card round, and then now they all got rested, and you have no advantage by even being the better team. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no. And I was explaining my blunder from last night, by the way, just so you know. That's why I was on the baseball subject. I didn't do it to double down. All right, what do we take away from Saturday? You and I talked last night on the Smash. I think we were both fairly satisfied with what happened with Florida State and the way that they played. Outside of a really disastrous second quarter and some frustrating calls and non-calls from the officials, Florida State kind of did what they were supposed to do against an inferior team, and they got the running game going.
Yeah, and I thought, we talked to the coordinators and Mike Norvell today, and they all seem to be, I think, in a pretty good place. I think they feel good about their team. I think Adam Fuller feels good about how the defense played overall, especially considering he, worked in some younger guys and they played pretty well. And then, I think from an offensive standpoint, Alex Atkins, he didn't beat his chest about the running game, but he basically said, they felt like it was going to come around when that time came. And it's just, this is an offense where he feels like they can do whatever they need to do against whoever they play on defense. So it may look different from week to week, whether they go heavy on the run or heavy on the pass. But yeah, man, I think that they feel like they're in a good place. I think they're getting healthier. There was a lot of good injury news, I think, today out of either the guys who went out during that game or guys who didn't play in that game all seem to be on track to be back here pretty soon. So yeah, man, I think they're in a good place overall.
Yeah, and I began the show by talking about appreciating winning 11 straight games and noting that, what's cool about all this is that Florida State is at a place where they've won 11 straight games, and you look around the country and you notice that there's a lot of teams that would love to be in that position and who aren't currently dominating this season. Like Georgia's like the exception. Everybody else has got to feel like, man, I'd like to be in Florida State's position.
Well, the thing is, it's like, some of the comments from the story I posted today, and, just, a couple of people made comments like, it's not too much to ask to make every tackle in the open field and to do this and to do that. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Watch college football. Nobody's dominant from week to week. Georgia, you said, but Georgia really looked that way against Kentucky, but they didn't look that way against South Carolina. They didn't look that way at times. I think it was a UAP or someone that they were kind of in a dogfight with. So again, it's the days of the better teams just winning games 70-10 for whatever reason. I can't tell you the reason why it is. It's not the way it is anymore. And so you're not going to, if you go into games expecting to win by 40 or 50 and being disappointed if you don't, I think you're going to more often than not feel great after your football game.
Yeah, that's a hard way to watch a season play out. I agree with that. It's a hard way to go into a game to expect to win by 50 and then being bitterly disappointed if you don't. It's somewhere in between. There is a reasonable approach to being critical and also celebrating successes. So it's kind of it's an interesting balance. And I think the thing with Georgia that we fear, because I look at Florida State as a team that could win a national title. And so I'm trying to compare them to other teams that are fighting for that same thing. And I feel really good about Florida State's place in that battle. I just feel like with Georgia, because they've proven it in back-to-back years and we know how they've recruited, they seem like a team like the way Florida State was in 2014, that they're pretty bored with you and they really don't care unless they feel somewhat threatened or get told to feel threatened. And I think they finally felt threatened against Kentucky and then it decided like, oh, well, this is who we are. And so the good news is you won't know that unless you play them. And if you play them, you're likely playing them for the national title.
It's also weird to me, it's about football. It's also, I don't know. And I guess I'm really looking forward to the 12-team playoff, because where we can get out of the mindset that you have to be perfect every game. You have to be perfect every possession of every drive. Because again, like we were talking about baseball briefly at the beginning, like, I mean, the Orioles won 100 games, but they made errors in games. The pitchers made bad pitches in games. Hitters chased pitches in games. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a feeling like in football that every mistake somehow is like unforgivable. Like, a guy bid on that play action, or the corner mistimed his jump in a pass coverage. It seems like, and I think again it goes to this mentality of you can't lose a game or your season's over, and that becoming like this expectation that everything has to be perfect. And I don't think it's reasonable. Professional athletes that get paid a lot of money are not perfect. So why are we expecting these college football players to be?
Yeah, and I that's fair. I think it's a case-by-case, game-by-game assessment that I do. Like, if you're 17 touchdowns better than, say, Old Dominion, and you win by 3, I'm going to rip your ass.
Oh, for sure.
But at the same time, if you don't cover the 23 and you win by 21 instead, I'm going to go easy there. I think it's all right. It's actually the nature of the mistakes too. At this point, Florida State's in a prime position. I mean, now we're going to sit back and continue to do what we've done all year long, which is hope that they get a little bit more efficient and a little bit more consistent, and obviously really hope that they get completely healthy. But when I look at the rest of the top 10, just using the AP poll, the only team I would tell you on a neutral site that I'd be very worried about is Georgia. I'm not as worried about Michigan, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Penn State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Southern Cal, Alabama, North Carolina, Ole Miss. We can go on and on, right? Everybody not named Georgia, I'd be like, yeah, I like our chances.
Well, I mean, just look at what happened with Texas and Georgia. Excuse me, Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma wins that game, a game that Texas easily could have won that game. And, now Oklahoma jumps up to 5 in one of the polls. Texas drops down to 12 in one of the polls. Are they really that much different? Those teams, I feel like Texas and Oklahoma could probably play 10 times, and they might split it 5-5.
The Dabo 5-5. I think you're right.
Exactly. So I mean, it's there. I agree. I think from probably 2 or 3 through 12 or 13, I think you could probably put all those teams. Florida State could probably beat all those teams, and they could lose to a bunch of them also. I wouldn't go into any of those games thinking they can't win them. But it's also not a guarantee that they would. So it's a weird place where we are. I think, don't you think though, next year when you go to a 12-team playoff, that it might make it more about the journey and less about every single game being the end of the world? Yeah,
one thing I've thought for a long time, I agree with you there, Ira, and I've also thought that it would be really cool, and some people probably push back on this, but one of the reasons that I wanted to join the SEC or the Big Ten, I guess, anywhere but here type mentality and getting into a money-making conference is that once you join a league that features the kind of competition and the kind of, like, if you think about schedule aesthetics and you think about before a season begins, hey, look, this year at home, we're playing Ole Miss, LSU, Florida, Georgia, and Auburn. And on the road, we've got, Tennessee and whoever else you want to go. Like, you would know when you looked at that schedule, there's virtually no chance we're going undefeated. There's a very good chance that those games are going to come down to the fourth quarter, that there's going to be a close game played almost every weekend. Let's try to go 10-3 or 11-2 and see if we can't make the playoff or whatever it might be. But you would have no expectation that you could get through that, but you would have a great expectation that the journey would be awesome because you'd be making plans every Saturday, whether to go on the road or to meet your friends at home for a game that features two really big-time, high-profile teams. And I like the idea of playing a season where perfection is unlikely, but a good time is had week in and week out, and you can have expectations of being a great program, of being a great football team, and that great football team may go 11-1 or 10-2.
Well, and conversely, the problem I guess you have when you're in the ACC is there's a fear that if you lose one game,
that's correct. That's correct.
And then it becomes not about enjoying these wins. It's about avoiding disaster. And so like you're worried about, what could happen next week? If we don't fix this, well, then maybe somehow Syracuse is going to beat us and end our season. I think maybe it's unique to Florida State. Maybe every fan base isn't going through this. But I just think, it's like, man, we're halfway through the season now, and I just get the sense for a lot of FSU fans are still not really enjoying the fact that they've won 11 straight games and they're number 4 in the country.
Yeah, and it's a fine line. I always remind myself that we hear those that scream the loudest from the mountaintop, and those people would be on a message board or Twitter. So that's what you're hearing. I bet you 90% of those not on those locations are loving this season just fine. And they're thinking,
I need those people to start emailing.
Be good, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, take care. Warchant.com. Well, it's the old analogy that I've used a million times. If you go through the drive-thru at a fast food place and they get the order right, you don't get home and fire off a thank you email, job well done. You just don't. The Karens of the world are uniting around dissatisfaction. It's never that things worked out okay.
www.yelp.com.
It's like you go pick up some food to go from Gordo's or the CP or wherever, and you're like, this is delicious. They nailed it. I'll tell you what, this sauce is where it's at. I don't get on the phone, but I'm going to call and tell Lucy they did a good job in the kitchen tonight. People don't do it.
There aren't enough Lucys.
There aren't. And I just thought about it when I used the name Lucy for the first time ever on the air. I just realized that of all my fictional names, obviously fictitious names, I should say, Jerry's number 1 on the list. But I don't think I've ever used Lucy.
There actually is a Lucy who's emerged who's awesome.
Lucy Ho.
Yeah?
No, there's a place called Lucy Ho.
Oh, okay. I love absurd moments.
Yeah.
Le Batard hired a girl named Lucy who's going to all of the college football games, and their content from the college football games is outstanding. It's hilarious.
I'd like that job. Somebody hire me to go to every college football game, and I will celebrate as they do in whatever that locale is, and we'll have conversations.
I think she could still be an undergrad, which is why she gets a little bit different access than you would.
Of course. Yeah. No, it would be a different kind of show, Tom. I'm not saying I'm doing the same show. I'm not like, hey, look at that. My ass is hanging out. I'm saying you and me would be going either is hers. We could go and get a bite to eat in every college town and do a show.
I could get why you think that's what I was implying, but I wasn't. I just mean age. You get into the frat parties and stuff, and you see how ridiculous.
I don't ever want to be in a frat party.
It's good content. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
shows you how stupid the sport can be sometimes, in all the best and worst
ways.
Or
what we said earlier is true, that fans in general are shaky.
Not wrong about the concessions, though.
So you were regaling me with moments of horror over the weekend for those that were in like the Champions Club. Now imagine the elitists that are in the Champions Club are very angry.
That is third-hand information. Champions
Club. Saying they were lying?
No, what I'm saying is it's also dated. I don't know if it got better from the first home game. But then again, we've only had 2 of them.
I was going to say.
So this was opportunity number 2 because Southern Miss was apparently
a nightmare.
A giant disaster.
Cold hot dogs.
Well, that was the regular stance. But yeah. I'm sorry. I'll probably have to sort these through these 2 binders worth of issues.
Please welcome to the stage, everybody. Cold hot dogs. Great name.
Man.
Great name for a band.
What genre?
Cold hot dogs are a little kind of, they're too fun-loving. They're not, that's not grunge.
Ska?
Definitely ska.
Yeah.
Ska, some sort of upbeat reggae of some kind. Absolutely. Yeah. At the very least, a lot of nobody's as talented as Stuart Copeland, but somebody attempting to Stuart Copeland this thing up.
Got to be a song about mustard in there.
And how the cold hot dog itself enjoys the warmth of the mustard as it hits their back.
There it is. The mustard seed's journey to the hot dog.
It's like, here we go. I'm a hot dog. Pour that mustard on me. What a bizarre group this is. And there's a sexual innuendo here that I'm not comfortable with. Maybe he just likes mustard.
It could be literal.
Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
3 Grady County Sheriff's deputies are facing a slew of charges, including 2 counts of false imprisonment. After turning themselves in on Thursday, those deputies were released on bond and are on administrative leave. It's unclear what situation led up to their arrest, but we do know that investigators say they violated their oath as officers. Those officers are identified as Keldrick McCullough, 27, Lee Grant, 33, and Donnie McClendon, 35. Grady County Sheriff Harry Young notified his office about the incident that happened on August 26 involving the officers. After investigating that incident, that's when he said the warrants were issued based on evidence. That evidence has not been disclosed. It is known that the investigators say minor injuries were involved in the incident. The 3 deputies are charged with violation of oath of office by a public officer, 2 counts of false imprisonment, burglary, and criminal trespass. McCullough is also facing simple battery and false statements or reports charges. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Clear skies this afternoon with a high of 78. Winds out the west around 5 miles per hour. Clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows around 51. High of 82 tomorrow. A blend of clouds and sun. Cooler Wednesday and Thursday with highs in the mid-70s. Chance for scattered rain showers Wednesday. Chance for scattered storms on Thursday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
This is Kyle, service manager from Barano Heating and Air. Schedule an appointment from your mobile device to learn about our Total Comfort Service Program. With guaranteed same-day service, 15% off necessary repairs, and $25 berry books to use towards air filters and other products. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Any day, anytime, anywhere. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu. Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
We'd score on every possession.
It's a good matchup. Very good matchup.
Might get a chance to play North Carolina. AP sits 12 for them right now.
They're interesting. I look forward to watching that game on Saturday. All laughter aside, even though I'm still laughing about Miami. I'm just interested. You're starting to get some apples to apples here. Better picture of what these teams are.
Yeah, I think we'd be nervous about any game top 9, excluding USC at 10. Now, USC could score, but they sure as hell wouldn't stop us from scoring. Texas, Oregon, Washington, Penn State, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, and Georgia all would be great games.
Yeah, in a way, I know it shouldn't matter, but I think in the era of NIL and the realities of that particular game, going toe-to-toe with Oklahoma in Orlando in the bowl game, different season. I got it. But watching what they've done so far and how they've climbed as a program themselves and what Brent has done.
Brent Venables, if you're an OU fan right now, you're going, there it is. That's why we hired you.
A lot of young players that played in that bowl game are now, ascending. I feel a little bit better about that result, even though I understand that it's a completely different season. It's just the context clues were there that Oklahoma was a bit on the rise there.
I think everybody's got to be, if you're in the SEC right now, you're now actually slightly very nervous about Alabama and where that's headed. It's the, and somebody did get them, but a lot of times that's the class that you should have got us when you had a chance. I kind of feel like the rest of the SEC right now is looking at that going, damn it. Because if they win out, Tom, they finish, 11-1, and they'll win the West.
Well, they've got a few interesting games. I mean, Arkansas is not a dead issue of a game.
Yeah, they're hosting that game. They're hosting Tennessee. They're hosting LSU. They don't play on the road till they play Kentucky. And the last road game of the year is Auburn. They should house both those teams. The Kentucky game will be equally as lopsided for the reasons that I picked Georgia and gave the 14.5 the second I saw it. It's a bad matchup for Kentucky. So, meaning, again, Kentucky has to run the ball to have success. You ain't going to line up and run the ball against them.
The LSU game is a weird one, assuming Daniels has healthy ribs at that point. That's a sneaky
kid.
Good effort out of that kid.
Well, he's having an incredible year. He's having an incredible year for a team that's lost twice.
With an injury, they had to climb all the way back, and then then they're trailing again late. It feels like a heartbreaking loss.
Could have done without the pick 6 in the last 13 seconds of the game that screwed me and many other people over. Can you just fall down, son? You don't have to take it to the house.
That's another one where I watched. It was on the quad screen.
Bad beat of a lifetime right there.
On TV, too. I'm watching our game, getting set up for it because it takes forever for Texas-Oklahoma to end. But, boy, we'll still have a 4-hour game now, won't we? Goodness gracious, even with these new clock rules, because they'll ensure that the TV breaks go forever. Anyway, I whipped my head back over to the left to see, there's another touchdown on the board. Because from my perspective, Mizzou had the ball. I'm like, wait a minute, did the scoreboard change?
And then you thought to yourself, so I'm not going to cover. I was getting 5.5. Just got screwed because my man throws a pick 6 with 15 seconds to play like an ass. It's a toughie. So Jimbo loses again. That's 2 losses on the year. He's kicking himself about the Miami loss in which they gave up 48 points, and he blamed it on slipping on the spray paint in the middle of the field.
He's not kicking himself for punting the ball on 4th and 1 in a 17-all game. He's not. He was asked about it. It was 3rd and 2. They get to 4th and 1. He says, if it was less than 1, we would have gone for it.
We've heard this interview. We've done this interview. We've done this interview before.
If it was less than 1, we would have gone for it. It's 4th and 1.
4th and 1.
And he agreed to the fact that it was 4th and 1.
Which is stunning. It means he learned from my interview with him. I can't just lie to him and tell him it was 4th and 3. I tried that with Cameron.
If it was about a quarter of football more closer, we would have gone.
I have a chart. And 6 inches, the difference is amazing. Statistically, we were going to go. I said to Doss, is that 6 inches? Well, how close? And we didn't meet the chart.
Bobby, is it a full yard? Damn it. Punt.
Maybe a few inches short of a full yard, Coach. It doesn't meet the damn it. Punt team.
3 or 4.
So they're at Tennessee, and I was surprised to see, I think Tennessee's favored. Curious. Don't know about all that. We'll watch that. They've got South Carolina afterwards. They're at Ole Miss. Just trying to gauge the losses for old Jimbo. The final game of the year, they're at LSU.
So they're staring at 3-5 in the variance.
Well, they got 2 currently.
Right.
So you would think they're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way and finish out 10-2. So, that's a 9-3 campaign. Not bad for whatever gazillions of dollars they pay him.
At best.
At best, yeah.
Yeah.
To not be in the running for the division yet again. Still a whole lot of nothing on that plaque.
He has a trophy. He was awarded a trophy. Okay? Doesn't have a year on it yet, but he was awarded a trophy.
So, Connolly's SP rankings after week 6, which also include statistics from last year and the year before, right? You could think about it this way when you go and look at Florida State. So, a year ago, going into the season, my God, some of the teams that were ahead of us in SP+, I'd sit there and stare at it and be like, really? UCF, Air Force, and Auburn? And I would just be devastated. But, when you're coming off of 5-7 and 3 wins before that and a whole bunch of suck before that, in something that's going to incorporate more than one season, you get a little downtrodden. By the way, currently, Florida is 32nd. Florida is 32nd in SP+. Florida State is 15th.
Oh, we're getting there. We're top 15 team. Thank God.
Well, SP plus, and this is again not a seasonal.
Effect.
Yeah, there's a big lag effect. And actually, you're starting to see where the waters we're swimming in start to make more sense. You're in there with Clemson, Notre Dame, Penn State, Southern Cal, Oklahoma, Alabama, Washington. You're right. You're starting to swim in those waters, which, yes, that water's comfortable.
Run the ball again this weekend against the multiple defense, and we'll feel even better about it. It'll be interesting to see what the 5 offensive linemen primarily are going to be. They're going to rotate a lot of dudes, but can you get a higher snap count for Robert? Where does Darius line up, if anywhere? Blessed in play.
I'm always looking to see who's healthy. That rotation will tell you. Power Mill Training Academy, powering performance. 27 alumni in the majors, 45 years of combined experience, 2,000 alumni. They got kids out there playing in Major League Baseball playoffs. It's amazing. But maybe your youngster wants to play softball or baseball and just have some fun in the little league. Well, they're going to want the skills that are needed to have fun playing the game, and they will certainly teach them that. Cue it up, sir.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Just 2 games. Just the 2 games. Braves fans, what you eating tonight? What's your beverage of choice? Don't go down 0-2. Get swept up out of here.
Make sure to chew your food. Don't choke.
Zach Wheeler, been good. Goes for the Phils. Max Fried goes for the Braves. We'll see. D-backs. Zach Gowen, Dodgers, Bobby Miller. That's a look at those that shall reside on the bump in playoff baseball today. Yes, sir. People, persons, minute. Jonathan, thank you. Super sticker. I don't see a question. I just see a thank you. Thank you. If you had a question, Jonathan, I do. We're out of here. Good work. Peace.